GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered. And that's MVS and Justin Watson with some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues. If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up. Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow, comma, semicolon, period, next sentence, to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man JRich.
Is that yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
and Jay
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude,
he? How good is GMGP? Good morning, good people. It is Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. We are back, baby. 3 damn days a week right here over here on the channel. Wake up with me and my brother from another mother. Y'all know who it is. It's your boy, JRich. You can find him at your boy, JRich on X. You can get at me at RayGQue. This is Wake Up. We have a good time with all the people, the family in the building. I see Dro, I see Garrison, I see Jeff. What's going on with you, Foxy Little Link? GMGP to you, my friend. Zach in the building. Justin, Richard Campbell, what's popping with you, Graphic 13? Jorge from Rhode Island, what's popping with you, Terrell, Hunter Joe Green, always in the building. What's going on, Cade, Patrick Price, Luke, Jeff, Jimbo, Wyatt, Tommy? We got a mock today. We're going to look at a mock, and we're going to get those JRich safety ranks over here as we do our first Wake Up Mock 1.0 on the channel. JRich and I are going to go 1 through 32. He's going to give us those O-line fits, those defensive tackle fits, because I know he's been grinding the tape. But I'm glad y'all popped into the building. If you're new to the channel, we have a damn good time. Talk all things sports, mainly football, college, NFL draft is the time. Ain't no news today, Jay. We had a 61-point performance from Joker last night.
Really?
The Nuggets lost the damn game. Your boy Steph Curry, 51, 52 damn points last night. And then Final Four, I believe. Final Four, is that today? Is it today, Jay? I'm not sure, but the Final Four
you tell me, bro.
The Final Four should be right around the corner. Jay, how you doing this morning, dog?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, woke up, went to the gym, listened to some Drizzy this morning. Still feeling good.
That gym journey you're on, big dog. I mean, you are on that Dak Prescott journey, huh?
Me and Dak, you know, we're making moves this offseason. So, you know, it's just been good. Been a good morning. Excited for the mock, our first official mock, which will be fun. You know, everyone hears you talk and your thoughts and your opinions. We went toe-to-toe last show about what's going to happen at number 2. We'll see what happens today. But
yeah, you put
excited, man. It'll be a fun show.
You put that clip out trying to make me look bad. I saw what you did. That Abdul Carter clip. You put it out on the channel trying to make me look bad.
The comments are telling us that, you know, some agree with me, some agree with you. So we're going to see. We're going to see.
Hit us up in the chat. Talk to us. This show is for y'all. It's early in the morning, but we enjoy this, man. Just talking through sports, talking through ball. Yeah, not a lot of news. Calais Campbell, I saw, is not going to retire. He's going back to Arizona. So good for Arizona,
Really?
Getting another defensive lineman there. NFL-wise, there isn't a lot of news that has transpired over the past couple of days. You did tell me that the tush push, 16 votes to ban that thing. Unreal.
Yeah,
Unreal cowards in the NFL, JRich. Scared
definitely
of that.
some momentum towards that, which
sneak.
is
highest level of football in the world, and they are terrified of the QB sneak. Isn't that wild?
I mean, if you can't stop it, you might as well try and ban it, right? Yeah, it's very interesting to see what's going to happen with the tush push. It feels like there's enough momentum that at some point it'll be banned, but we'll see. And then, Ray, I don't know if you saw that the overtime rules got changed as well. So now we have the playoff overtime rules in the regular season, which I guess is fine.
I like it.
I guess it's fine.
Both teams get a chance. So if you have not heard, overtime rules are changing for the 25 season. Both teams get one possession. They're guaranteed one possession. It's a 10-minute quarter. Unless one team kills the whole time limit, kicks a field goal, scores, and wins.
Yeah.
So now in overtime, first team that scores a touchdown, the other team will get an opportunity to score. I like that. I like that rule. I
kind of like the sudden death for the regular season. I get it in the playoffs, but like in the regular season, like just stop the other team. You had 4 quarters to do it. Now here's your 5th quarter. Like, get it done, figure it out. But
neither team stopped each other if they got to the 5th quarter. So give each team a shot. I like it. I think it's fine. And then I believe, if I was not April fooled, that they are implementing a digital chain gang this year. They're going to have like precise.
Oh yeah, they're working on it, right?
Measurements.
Yeah, they're working on it.
The UFL does it. It's you see the goddamn line, you see the ball. It's like, okay, first down or not a first down. So
yeah,
I think they're implementing that this season well.
Is it the tennis system that they're using? Because the tennis system is really good. It's really, really good.
I don't know. I mean, I know UFL uses it. I don't know if it derived from tennis or what.
Yeah, tennis has been using it for a long time, but it's really, really good, and they should be, considering, like, why did we deal with the fucking chain gang in 2025? It's ridiculous.
Jorge said no more manual measurements for first down distances. And Ricky did say the touchback rule was changed. So now if a team doesn't opt to return the kick, they start off at the 35. The touchback, you get 5 more yards, which... You know, we've talked about this privately in our community. What's this mean overall? Like, every yard matters. Fantasy football, like, every yard matters, right? But if you're getting better starting field position, that just means less yards to go to get in scoring range, right? You got teams attempting 58, 60-yard field goals. It shrinks the field a little bit. And I guarantee if teams do not do what the NFL wants them to do, which is return the damn ball, they'll penalize them again. Like, look, it took 1 year. Not good enough. We'll make it to 35.
35 is far, though.
I'm just
because, you know, there's a lot of teams last year that didn't care. They moved it from the 25 to the 30, and they were like, why would I care? And the Rams are one of those teams. They just kick it through every time. Doesn't matter, right? Like, it's
Scott
very interesting.
Connor was saying, shout out to Scott, man, Charles Shill, FFB on X. He said they need to just ban touchbacks. Like, you're not allowed to touch the ball. No touchbacks. Unless you kick it out of the end zone. You got to return that shit.
But then you get to the point where you're having a specialist who can kick it through the end zone, right? Like, if you really don't want them to return it, you're just going to got to kick it through the end zone. But it's funny because when you think about it, like, from a football perspective, that's so interesting. You got to have special teams players, right? But if you're never participating in kickoff, like, ever, the whole season, that's your plan. You're going to kick it to the end zone, through the end zone every time. Like, can you then manipulate your roster differently because you really don't need those guys to do a whole lot of anything?
Probably.
And they just kind of go out there and they stand there, right?
Probably.
Right?
Probably. I also think this makes it more likely that teams actually go try to find somebody that can return the ball and not the 5th string running back.
The 3rd string running back every time.
It runs a 4-8 and you just got him back there. So we'll see how it works out. But I think that's basically all of the big news that dropped from the NFL world. Not a lot in college, just people talking about a lot of Matthew Golden talk on the timeline yesterday. A lot of Matthew Golden talk on the timeline yesterday. A lot of that yards per route run for Matthew Golden, Jay. But I want to take a look at Lance Zierlein. He's got a mock. He dropped the mock late last night. Yeah, but we were up late. We had a game last night. I showed you my boy had a double play in the game out there at second base last night, diving for balls and getting up, throwing people out at first. Very proud pops, man. I wanted to show that shit, but we're not going to do that today. I don't want to put the other little kids' faces all over the internet. So we'll just take a look at Lance Zierlein's mock over on NFL.com. It's free, so I'm not showing anything paywalled. Support Lance, his work. We're not doing this because it's the Bible, but it's interesting to hear other people's thoughts and opinions on these players, where they have them slotted, because we are going to do our mock right after this. So let's pull up Lance's mock 3.0 from old Zierlein and see what he's got cooking, JRich. And y'all hit us up in the chat. We'll talk through this, and we'll go through this one quickly because we'll spend a little more time on ours. Cam Ward at the top, right, JRich? No surprises here. Cam Ward.
Locked and loaded.
This is what you think is going to happen come draft time, right?
Absolutely. He'll be number 1 in our mock as well.
All right. Cam Ward, okay. All right. Cam Ward, number 1 in this one and the one we have not done. Cleveland at 2 takes your boy, Abdul Carter. As we've talked about, Lance says, I know the Browns need a quarterback, but Andrew Berry is an analytics-driven GM and seems to me much more likely to see Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter as the pick here than one of the quarterbacks beyond Cam Ward. At 3, the Giants went Travis Hunter. I also mocked Travis Hunter to the Giants a couple of mocks ago. I think there's a world which they can get Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. We'll see if that plays out in this mock. Your New England Patriots, JRich, who'd your Pats get in this one? Will Campbell, offensive tackle from LSU. And finally, we have gotten to the point in the draft process where people are not pegging him as an offensive guard. Now they're like, he's been a tackle. He's the best tackle in college football. Stop with trying to make Will Campbell a damn guard, Jay. How you feel about this for your Pats?
Well, the one piece of news we didn't really talk about is, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, is the lack of consistency with the measurements. And it's like 80% of players, especially offensive linemen, were mismeasured for their arm length. And it wasn't just Will Campbell. And that's one of the reasons why there's discrepancies between the Will Campbell Pro Day number for his arm length, which was above 33, and the combine number, which was much lower. So
below.
Now teams kind of got to decide whether they want to use the combine one or the pro day one, and it's a very weird situation depending on how closely you follow offensive line play. But yeah, it does seem like Campbell could be the top tackle now because that combine number is going to be kind of disparaged based off the results we've seen from all the pro day numbers.
Mason Graham, pretty chalk here, goes to Jacksonville at 5. Here is, I guess, the first big splash in this mock, and this is a player that has been mocked inside the top 10. But Jalen Walker, edge rusher out of Georgia, 6th overall to the Las Vegas Raiders, followed up by Armand Membu going to the Jets to help protect their young quarterback, Justin Fields. I like that pick. At 8, the Carolina Panthers go Mykel Williams, edge rusher out of Georgia. So, Jay, 2 teams that have been linked to Tet McMillan, the Carolina Panthers and your New England Patriots, both passed on the wide receiver. And then one of the teams that has been frequently paired and associated with Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty, they also passed on the running back. So your thoughts on Lance Zierlein saying the NFL is like, to the running back, to the wide receiver right here inside the top 8 picks?
I mean, the Vegas one is strange because it feels very unlike what we would see from the Raiders, from Pete Carroll. And I don't know if you saw, Ari Mirov posted it yesterday, but the new GM of the Raiders, went in and did an interview, and he talked about how his son came into his office and said, if you don't draft Ashton Jeanty, I'm not going to be a fan of the team anymore. Basically, he's like, you're not doing a good job. And he said this publicly. He literally said this publicly, that his son wants him to draft Ashton Jeanty basically no matter what, which I thought was pretty funny with how heavily they're linked to Jeanty and how much we know that he'd be a great fit for Pete Carroll's offense. But the Jalen Walker one's a little surprising. You have Jahad Campbell here at 9 to the Saints.
The first one. Get a draft sound here. What do you think about that Jahad Campbell at 9, off-ball linebacker to the Saints?
They really need him, like badly. Right? They're very old at linebacker. They have been for years. And they recently obviously lost Zach Baum when the Phillies took him over last season, right? So they've been trying to fill that spot. And so I do think it makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot more sense than Jalen Walker at 6, honestly.
All right. Now, fantasy football fans, get ready. If you got sweatpants on, sit down. Because, yes, Zierlein has Boise State superstar running back Ashton Jeanty going to the Chicago Bears at 10. Here's the write-up. The Bears have done a good job improving their offensive line, which they have done an incredible job of through free agency. The next step towards getting the most from Caleb Williams and that offense should be taking the most explosive playmaker in the draft. So I want to ask you this question, Jay. Not, is this a good pick for the Bears? I think it works. With Ben Johnson, that offensive line, I think it works, but let's be realistic here. Ashton Jeanty on the Bears. I'm just going to say they've got Cole Kmet at tight end, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams. Who's asked out in this equation, fantasy football wise? Because people are real excited about Odunze
of the pass
this year.
catchers.
Let me just. I think that what they've done with their investments in the offensive front. And if they do take Ashton Jeanty, what that would lead me to believe that this is not going to be a let Caleb Williams throw the ball 600 times a season team. This would indicate to me, let's do what we sort of Ben Johnson was able to do in Detroit, which was play a ball-controlled offense, rely on those running backs. So where does the success at the wide receiver standpoint and Caleb Williams come from? I think this would be a much different looked and viewed team with Ashton Jeanty on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're projecting the team, regardless of whether they have Ashton Jeanty or not, you should still expect it to be somewhat what we've seen in Detroit. Like, I don't know why you expect it to be much different. Probably only 2 viable receivers, most weeks only 1, and we'll see what we get from the tight end position, right? Because while, yeah, they only have DeAndre Swift now, they could easily bring in another running back that can fill that role and take on 150 carries.
They still got Roschon, man. I'm not saying Roschon is some great talent, but he could fill that grinder role, right? He could be a body.
He could, but I think he's better in the Swift role, right? If we're talking about the complementary backs and kind of the way they play, I think Roschon does probably fit more of what Swift would do in that complementary role. And then you'd have Genty as more the Montgomery. Yeah, like you'd have Genty as the primary rusher, part-time receiver. You have Swift more as the primary receiver, part-time rusher, and you pretty much have the backfield or some semblance of the backfield you had in Detroit. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think the sad part is maybe Genty is the loser here because we know that Ben Johnson's probably going to use a dual backfield split, and other places like Las Vegas in particular, he'd probably be the only guy getting carries there. And so it's interesting to think about how that split could work because I do think that Swift's going to be a factor. And I believe, I don't know this for certain, but I believe that Ben Johnson was there when Swift was there.
He was.
Swift was obviously there a few years ago, right? So he's familiar with the skill set and the offense and all that kind of stuff.
Was one and done in Detroit?
No, he was there for like 3 years, wasn't he?
Well, with Ben Johnson, I think he was only with
Ben Johnson, maybe, yeah. With Ben Johnson, maybe. Right. I don't know exactly what Ben Johnson's crossover was, but something like that.
San Francisco takes an offensive lineman. I think this is a good move for him. Get some protection. That offensive front was wrecked last year. They get Kelvin Banks out of Texas. The Dallas Cowboys take the aforementioned Matthew Golden. There are several positions the Cowboys can target here, including defensive tackle, but that position is deep this year, and Golden gives them an immediate starting option at wide receiver. At 13, Kenneth Grant, big D tackle out of Michigan, goes to the Miami Dolphins, and Tyler Warren, much associated with Indianapolis, goes there at 14. The Falcons take Will Johnson at 15. Any thoughts on this 5-pick cluster of Johnson, Warren, Grant, Golden, Banks?
The one thing I am happy that Lance didn't give a safety to Miami. It feels like they get safeties a lot mocked. The Cowboys pick, we'll get there when we get there in our mock, and we'll talk about that. But Warren makes a lot of sense. And then the Falcons taking Johnson's interesting. But do you think they need corner over edge? I feel like they'd probably still lean edge.
I think they absolutely need a pass rusher, right? They absolutely need a pass rusher, but they need a damn corner as well. And in a class where the edge depth is deep.
Because they just re-signed their CB2, didn't they?
I think they just re-signed Will Johnson we're going to look up a year, 2 years from now and be like, we really let Will Johnson slide out of the top 10. What are we doing?
He'll be Christian Gonzalez when he slid, right?
Like, stop, man. Yeah. Buckeye DK says, I'm okay with Golden. I've been fucking saying it. How long have I said we're not building a fantasy football roster, okay? He fits the Dallas system. He complements what CeeDee Lamb does well. He would be an excellent number 2 to CeeDee, and this is exactly what Dallas was hoping they got out of Brandon Cooks before injuries, age, etc. But he is a field-stretching option that's a very good route runner that can separate, that will complement the person that's going to get the ball 35% of the time, which is CeeDee Lamb. This is not a move to draft Matthew Golden for him to be the team's wide receiver 1. This is a move for Matthew Golden to come in and complement the wide receiver 1 in football up there with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. So even if Golden is the first receiver off the board, Jay, I'll just say that does not make him the wide receiver 1 for fantasy football purposes. I think this is a very good fit in Dallas. Would it be the pick that I would make? No. I'd rather have Will Johnson over Matthew Golden, but I'm okay with the pick. I think it would work very well with Dak Prescott, give him a field stretching option to make things easier underneath for the pass catchers and the options in Dallas. 16, the Arizona Cardinals go Tyler Booker, guard. Bengals go Mike Green, a common pairing. And there is Ted McMillan going 18th overall to Seattle. Seattle did bring in Cooper Kupp and MVS. They've got Jackson Smith and Jigba. Quick thoughts on this fit of Ted in Seattle. I'll just say this. I don't think he would be the wide receiver 1 either. Are you taking him? If he gives the Seattle fantasy football, are you taking him as the wide receiver 1?
I think, Ray, I'd go even a step further. Like, is there a world where he's just somehow Rome Odunze this season? Like, not necessarily because he should be, but like when you talk about the way that he plays and how he operates, how is he going to play and operate in the field over what Cooper Kupp does well and what JSN does well? Like, they all do the same things well. So how does he complement the rest of the players? Like, you've talked about how Tet could be a decent fit with CeeDee Lamb in Dallas, but Golden's a better fit because of the way that he plays on the football field. You look at Tet, you look at JSN, you look at Cooper Kupp, they all operate in the middle of the field. So what, is Sam Darnold just going to throw over the middle of the field all game?
I don't think you want Darnold doing that.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. So I think it's a bad spot for McMillan, because are they going to force him to play like Metcalf? And he is not DK Metcalf. Unless, we see a different Ted McMillan in the NFL. I think it's a very confusing fit, and you're probably looking at JSN 2.0 when they drafted him, and he couldn't get on the field and he saw no targets because there just wasn't anything available for him.
Joe says Tet doesn't like to be called that. He likes to be called Teterora or T-Mac. Are you going to adjust?
Okay. Probably not.
All right. Tampa Bay at 19 takes Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, the Myles Garrett clone, athletically with zero production. So this is the classic case of just pure raw talent, and can this coaching staff get the most out of him? I like him with Todd Bowles. I think that would be fine. I would trust what they could do in Tampa Bay with him versus some other spots. So Shamar Stewart goes 19th to Tampa Bay in Zierlein's mock. At 20, the Broncos take another polarizing player, Omarion Hampton. There have been some bad rankings of Omarion Hampton come out over the past couple of days. I've seen him RB10. I know Matt Waldman does a lot of great work film. Listen, I respect everybody's opinion, man, for real. Like, he does his work. I know he's watching hours upon hours of film, and he does not factor in for draft capital, but he's got him as the 10th best running back. And then I believe it was Bob McGinn who that article or blurb from his article came out that pretty much talked about him being a non-flexible, linear runner that ain't that good for the most part. So we'll see how everything shakes out. And then there was also something saying that the NFL isn't nearly as high on Hampton
as a draft community, because his hips are stiff, I think was, right? His hips are a little stiff. He's not as fluid as you'd like, especially at where he's projected to go. Yeah. Some interesting stuff about Hampton. Maybe it's all just smoke, though. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Hampton to Denver would be a good fit with Sean Payton, though. I like that. The Rams, they trade up, JRich. The Rams trading up. Who they trading up for?
Jahdae Barron, the cornerback out of Texas.
I didn't know you saw this already. I thought you were gonna say Jackson Dart. But yes, Jahdae Barron, corner from Texas. Love the fit.
They need a corner badly.
Yeah, he's a good player, really badly. He's a really good player. Colston Loveland, Chalk goes to the Chargers. Green Bay goes Siobhan Revel. And the Cleveland Browns trade with Minnesota. And if I'm Minnesota and I'm at pick 24, they do not have a second-round pick. This team is stacked. The Vikings are loaded. If J.J. McCarthy is just competent, they're going to be very good this year. They get another pick, right? They move out of the 24th spot. They trade. Cleveland's got the first pick in the second round, and they trade up from that 33rd overall pick into the first. They get the fifth-year option on Shedeur, and they both land. The Cleveland Browns land both Shedeur Sanders and Abdul Carter in this mock. JRich, do you think this is a realistic outcome? This makes a lot more sense, right, than taking Sanders at 2, in your opinion?
Yeah, like I really do. Again, we've talked about this before, and I've said this on the show countless times. It's not that I don't think Shedeur's a good player, but there just isn't a lot of fits for him down the board. Like, there's just not. And it's not because teams aren't willing to draft him. It's just like when you look at what teams need right now and the way they're constructing their teams, if he doesn't go to Vegas and he doesn't go to Cleveland or New York, like there isn't a spot for him unless you trade up. Like, all these teams have quarterbacks or aren't going to draft Shedeur Sanders. Like, it's pretty apparent, and this is a very likely scenario. But I think the bigger question is, without a trade, do you think he gets drafted at all in the first round? Like, you have to orchestrate this trade up, I think, to make it happen.
Realistically, if Cleveland passes and the Giants pass, right? Maybe the Raiders, but I would say
it doesn't seem like it with Geno there.
With Geno, maybe the Jets doesn't seem likely with. I
think the Jets are possible.
But
I think they're possible.
Would you go great 50? Would you go 51% or 49% if you had to lean on that? Would you?
Definitely on the less likely side. But of all the teams available, I'd say the Jets are probably higher than people think. Right?
I think they're lower. I think the Jets are lower than what people think. The team that I would the dark horse team that I think would stop the slide is 9 at New Orleans.
100%. 100%. They're the only team that would stop it.
Give Kellen Moore. It's almost like Kellen Moore's looking in the mirror with Shedeur. Just accurate.
Yeah.
You know, not all the physical gifts and tools as a quarterback. I think a lot of the Sanders arm strength lacking. I think a lot of that is overblown. I think New Orleans would be the spot that would stop that slide. But if he did go past New Orleans, who else is taking him? Not Chicago.
Nobody.
Not San Francisco. Not
Dallas isn't even that
Miami.
stupid.
Indy, they're not doing it. Atlanta, no. Arizona, no. Yeah.
Like maybe Seattle? Maybe? Because like they have Darnold, but that doesn't even make it a lot of sense, right? Like Denver, none of the LA teams, Green Bay, like they all have quarterbacks. So it's very interesting.
All right. Love. I'm so happy that Zierlein put Donovan Jackson in the round 1. I think this is a round 1 player. Guard, tackle, probably profiles better as the guard in the NFL. Played tackle when Simmons went out this year out of Ohio State. Love it for C.J. Stroud. Houston with their, Pittsburgh takes Derek Harmon. This was the trade with the Rams, so they go D-tackle. We all know Pittsburgh needs interior D-line. Yep. Baltimore gets Nick Emanwori, the athletic safety, not your safety one, but Baltimore takes him, and this would be a nasty pairing with Kyle Hamilton. Nick Emanwori and Kyle Hamilton, good luck going over the center of the field. Josh Connerly goes to Detroit, so they upgrade their offensive line. The Commanders get Trey Amos. Buffalo gets Donovan Ezeraku, edge rusher out of Boston College. The Chiefs go Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. And the Saints, JRich, trade back up with Philadelphia in this mock, and they take Jackson Dart at pick 32.
What a pick.
You like that?
Yeah. They've been looking at quarterback this whole cycle. Why would the Giants not do this? Well, maybe they didn't pay up, right? Because the thing is with the Saints, this is funny because the Saints have been heavily looking at quarterback. They really, really have. And while they have Carr for this year, we'll see what they do after that. But because you have Cleveland, where if they don't trade up for a quarterback in the first round, they'll be looking at Dart. The Giants, if they don't go quarterback in the first round, they'll be looking at Dart as well if he doesn't get drafted. So the Saints hopping up and getting Dart makes a lot of sense because you're going to have to probably be... I think you're maybe going to have to trade into the first round to get Jackson Dart if it plays out similar to how like we saw here, where Cleveland and the Giants are still looking for quarterbacks.
Joe says this mock kind of sucks, not going to lie. Why? Because there wasn't a lot of receivers. Let's talk about who wasn't there.
No burden.
2 receivers, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, 3 QBs. There was no Egbuka, no Burden, none of that stuff. I don't think they're round 1 players, Jay, but we'll go through our own and talk about it. Joe, tell us why you wasn't feeling Lance's mock. I'm going through the chat right now. This is one of the better realistic mocks I've seen. Stanley does not like that Dart. I'd take Dart over Sanders, but not before Cam if this holds. I'd take Dart over Sanders, but not before Cam.
So Dart's QB2, Joe.
How would you rank them? How would you prioritize those landing spots? New Orleans, Cleveland, Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee's that great either, but he's the number 1 pick.
But you're betting on the number 1 pick.
Yeah, that's why I just said but
outweighs pretty much everything,
that's
right?
That's why I say he's the number 1 pick. He's the number 1 pick.
So we got, I mean, honestly, I'd probably take Dart in New Orleans. Like Cleveland, what are we doing with Cleveland? Are we really going to bet on Cleveland? He can't run. Like Dart can run more than he can, and he'll play inside.
Stop.
He can run more than Sanders, though. That's what I'm saying.
No.
He can't run more than Sanders.
They're both about the same, though. Dart ain't all that. He's not.
I'm not saying he's like that, but he can run more than Sanders, and he's going to play in the NFC South, which sucks, and he's playing indoors. Sanders is playing in the AFC North, easily one of the toughest divisions in football.
I'm not debating the conference. I'm not debating the divisions, man.
I'm just saying, like, even as a tiebreaker with rushing ability, like, maybe you even lean Dart in that sense as well. As passers, kind of take your pick. And then weapons-wise, I don't know. It's kind of, maybe you lean Cleveland a bit there, but is like the weather and shit going to negate all that because the production's not going to quite be there.
Craig said no Emeka in the first.
He seems like he's a split for the first. Like there's still odds that he's going to go in the first.
What do people think he is? I mean, he's He's a really good receiver, but he's always been a compliment. He's always been he's a good complimentary receiver. He's a good complimentary receiver.
It's funny, you see like who is
good.
it? I'm thinking of like Jaden Reed going the second round. You're looking at Ladd winning the second round,
Hickman,
and
Higgins,
and he's not really better than
AJ
guys,
Brown,
honestly.
DK Matt.
AJ Brown.
I'm just.
Way to go, Bill. You really fucked that one.
All right. Well, we need to do ours. We need to do.
Do you see
ours.
that AJ Brown got his Tom Brady jersey?
I did.
Signed.
I did see that.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna do our mock now. Look, screw what Zierlein did. We appreciate him. Thank you for this mock, but we're doing our own damn mock. JRich, what we're gonna do? We'll go to break. Hit the thumbs up button. We got a bunch of people in the building. Like the stream. We'll be back. We'll engage in the chat, and then we're gonna run our own, man. Let's get it. Appreciate y'all pulling up. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like the content, like the stream, and subscribe. Support the channel. Check out our other channel, DDFFB on YouTube. Fantasy football content all the damn time. Shane Manila dropped the video, 3 wide receivers you should be buying in fantasy football. He dropped that this morning, JRich. Is this that when this dropped this morning?
Yep, AJ Brown is one of them. That's why he's on the thumbnail. But you'll have to watch the video to see the other two. Some not really surprising names, but Ray, one of your favorites made the list.
Oh, that you should buy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
One of your favorites.
And for those people who are not engaged in our community, it's the best damn fantasy football, NFL draft, just football community in the space. Check us out. Go to ddfantasyfootball.com, sign up. And if you look through the descriptions, there is a discount for you to get that 50% off, or go to patreon.com/allgas. I start my Trinity wide receiver usage series today on the Los Angeles Rams and their new look outlook, their situation, their pass catchers, receiving room, what we expect to happen next season. That is all behind the wall of pay. Come be a part of the community. Tap in, trust the Trinity, follow the dots. Y'all know what it is. Couple of comments that came through. E-Slack, shout out to E-Slack, said, why was Olave taken at pick 11, but Ibuka is not a first-round talent? Are they not that similar? JRich, what do you think?
They are similar, but I think that people just didn't really recognize the talent of Olave when he came out. And even still, maybe he was a little bit overdrafted, but in a lot of ways, like, you can't compare a player who ran a 4.5 to one who ran a 4.3. Like, there is a big difference there, and Olave is still a much more polished route runner. I think that maybe you could argue Ibuka has stronger hands at the catch point, but I think in a lot of ways, Olave did everything Ibuka did better and played better outside as well, which he obviously showed in the NFL pretty early.
Do you agree with this one from Kevin? Ibuka equals Olave 2.0.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be surprised. Like, I do think that he's a little bit undervalued in the fantasy circles, especially with the draft capital we kind of expect him to get. But I don't think he's going to come out and have like 1,000 yards as a rookie. I think he can surprise, but I don't think he's going to be crazy underrated in the way that like certain players were. Yeah, he's not a better Ladd McConkey.
Craig says he's a better Ladd McConkey.
No, it's not. Ladd McConkey does pretty much everything better than what he does, including running much faster, which you saw in his 1,000-yard rookie season.
Darkside Dev says the transition music is terrible.
That's fine, Darkside Dev. You can make your own show and have your own transition music. That's cool.
I was going to say something real smart, but I'm trying to be a better person today. 3 weeks from the draft, crazy feeling. Yes, Adam says, are we back to 3 days a week? Yes, Adam, for the 59th time. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That would be 3 days in the week. Best fantasy football tennis community in the space. Jay, you did not even hear this, but inside of our Discord community, we have a degenerate fantasy gamer who has created his own fantasy tennis league, like fantasy tennis.
Really? What's it based off of? Like just finishes or is it money?
Dude, he's got a whole point scoring system for it, man. It's actually pretty cool. But the dope thing about it, which we are going to implement, is he does it to where you could draft like legends. So you can draft like Pete Sampras, Rafael Nadal, Federer, and you randomize the year in which they played and then how he does the league. You get like that season's points.
So is it like a sim league?
Point is, we're going to create one for fantasy football where you can draft legends in the league, like old legends, like New England Patriots Randy Moss or Denver Broncos version of John Elway. We're working on a league now where you can draft legends and incorporate them with regular fantasy football people. It's going to be fucking dope. It's going to be sick. Me and Scott are brainchilding this thing right now. But we got to do our mock. We hit some of the comments. We got to do the mock. What in a tennis point system? Yeah, Jeff, it's pretty dope, man. It's actually pretty damn cool to all the strategy and stuff that went into that. Just degenerate community over there. We love it. All right. 1.0, JRich, you ready for this, man? You ready to do it?
Yeah, of course.
You ready? All right, let's pull it up.
Of course.
We got the simulator pulled up. We are on the clock. Tennessee is on the clock. JRich, do we even need to belabor the point, or is this just Cam Ward? Lock it in.
Nah, it's Cam Ward no matter what. He's number one quarterback, been the number one quarterback since before the combine, continues to only gain steam in that regard. I don't even think you can really make the case for Abdul Carter at this point. Like, he's pretty much locked in at number one until something changes. I think Cam Ward's going to be number one pick.
All right, Cleveland's on the clock at 2. We know how you feel. I'm going to try to sway you. I'm not going to sway you. Is it Abdul Carter or Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter? We keep putting Abdul Carter here in Cleveland, but could it be Travis Hunter? What are the odds? What are the odds for number 2? Why not Travis Hunter and do the same thing, getting Travis Hunter? If the thought is you're going to trade up for Shedeur at that 33rd pick, you don't want to take him at 2. Why not get another position of need, which is corner? And I believe Cleveland was one of the teams that said they view him as a receiver. Why not do the same thing for Travis Hunter? I want to go Hunter here.
Because that's the thing that almost ruins it for me, right? If you're telling me that you think that Travis Hunter's a receiver, cool, but what receiver goes second overall?
He's not. He is both. He's going he's going to play both, Jay. Any team that drafts him would be crazy not to try it. He's going to do both.
I agree. But what if he's a primary receiver, part-time corner? Is that the best utilization of Travis Hunter, or is that worth the second overall pick? That's my whole thing. Like, if you view him as a receiver, that's cool. Like, that's fine. He'll maybe play part-time corner, or however it ends up happening, right? It's just those comments don't strike to me as we need that guy, right? At the top of the draft, it's quarterbacks, it's edge rushers, it's like big money impact players, and Hunter's probably going to be one of those guys. But if you view him as a receiver, I just don't think they're going to take him at number 2. And I could be wrong. It's possible. But I do kind of buy into the Shedeur or Carter type of thing.
Travis Hunter's the pick. Cleveland goes Travis Hunter at 2. Now what happens at 3? I made the executive decision. Travis Hunter at 2, man. That is, you want to talk about if there is, man, Joe is about to rip me for even using this word, because I just rip everybody that uses it. But if there is a generational talent, it's Travis Hunter, not Cam Ward.
He's already a generational talent, though. He's a century talent. No one's done what he's done. Like, so he's already a generational talent. Whether he does it in the NFL or not will be the results, right?
Does this change the equation for New York? Hunter's off the board. Does this change the math for the Giants? Where every mock that the Giants are here at 3, it's Travis Hunter if they want to pass on a quarterback. So right now, would the Giants pass on Abdul Carter, or do they take Shedeur here at 3?
I mean, realistically, I think they trade out. If I was the Giants, I'm trading out 100%. Let someone come and get Abdul Carter. But there's like almost no way they draft him, right?
The Jets are on the clock at 7. They want to trade. You want to trade with the Jets? Jets are trading.
I think that's really interesting.
Okay. So the Giants move back to 7.
I think that's really interesting.
Giants move back to 7. The Jets get the 3rd. What do the Giants get? They get the 2nd round pick.
Second this year and second next year.
First and second?
No, just a second next year. Just a second next
7,
year? 42 and a second next year.
And they give up 3 and one of these comp picks back here?
Yeah, like 6 or 7, something like that.
Let's give him 154. Can we give him 154?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Let's offer it. Boom. The Giants traded out of Abdul Carter. The Jets are on the clock. This would piss New England off because you know who they would take.
They're taking Abdul Carter.
They're taking
100%.
Abdul Carter. 100%. They're taking Abdul
100%.
Carter. Bam. Yeah. Abdul Carter goes to the Jets in this mock. New England's on the clock at 4. What do your Pats do, JRich? They stand pat. They take Will Campbell, or they make
I think at this point, could be Membu, but it's probably Campbell. I think with the arm length stuff, it's kind of been a lack of a narrative recent days, especially. I think they probably take Campbell. I don't like it, but it is what it is, man. This is how the draft.
Can I just throw Ashton Genty out there for you? Do you think Vrabel and Kraft could just be like, fuck it, no Hunter, no Carter, best player available, Ashton Genty right here to New England?
It wouldn't shock me. Like I think that Vrabel might do that, but they need offensive line help, so it's probably Campbell. And Garrison, it's PFF.
God, I want to take Genty here.
Why are you trying to throw this mock off the rails, like right from the rip? You already drafted Hunter.
I'm going to filibuster a little bit until we get some more comments about this. Why not? If the two players that are commonly associated with New England, or at least New England fans really want, Travis Hunter and Abdul are off the board, why not just take Ashton Genty?
Because they don't need Ashton Genty. The last player they need is a running back. Would it make their team better? Sure. But by the time they need to re-sign him and pay him,
so I'm just gonna.
They're gonna not
last
be good.
question. Last question. The same philosophy that we used with the Chicago Bears, or Lance Zierlein used with the Bears. Best way to help mature a young quarterback is with a strong running back, and they pairing up Genty with Caleb Williams. Why not do the same thing in New England? Luke says it's because it's pick 4. Didn't Ezekiel Elliott go pick 4? Didn't Saquon go pick 2? Like, what are we doing? Like,
Saquon didn't go pick 2, did he?
Yes, he did. He was the 2nd overall pick.
And how'd that work in New York, right? This guy is sick for 4 years or 5 years, and then what happens? He leaves and he wins the Super Bowl.
All right, Will Campbell went to New England. Fine. I was pressured. I didn't have the courage. Coward did not take Genty. Fear of that wake-up chat retribution. I didn't do it. Jacksonville's on the clock. What do you want to do, JRich? Fucking Mason Graham? You just want to go Mason Graham? Chalk Mason Graham?
Yeah, I don't know. Who do you think they want? Like, outside of Mason? Like, they need D-line. They haven't signed any defensive lineman. They need a corner.
Tyler Warren. They don't have a tight end.
They don't need a tight end. Liam Cohen doesn't use tight ends. They need a receiver.
We're not taking Ted McMillan at 5. No way. Absolutely not.
Just because you don't like him?
Pardon? He's my wide receiver 1. How do I not like him?
For now. Mason Graham would be who I'd pick. I think it just makes a lot of sense. They need DT. They really
Raiders
do.
are on the clock at 6. Positions of need per this simulator, a.k.a. Trevor Sikkema, running back, wide receiver, D-line, and corner.
Can we spice it up a little bit?
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Can we get the Saints to trade up?
You want the Saints to trade? Let's see if they're interested. The phone line is ringing. New Orleans is on the line. JRich, you're onto something. All right. New Orleans.
I'm kind of mocking this out of my head, and I think it's really interesting.
All right,
but if the Saints trade up to 6,
what are they giving up?
40.
They gotta give up 40.
No, 71 in a future second. They're not giving up 40.
Okay. Will they give up one of these picks?
Yeah, sure.
They're not accepting any of that. Maybe they'll accept this one.
That's a pretty high pick, though.
It's the 5th round pick, man. Something like that. All right, what do you want? New Orleans is on the clock at 11. They made the trade. They did what you want. They made the trade. What do you want?
You know, I kind of want them to take Sanders.
I kind of want them to take
Sanders. They jumped New York. Yes, but there's more to this. But yeah, they have to jump New York.
Okay.
And they're going to take Sanders.
Okay. Damn.
Right?
This would. Okay. Sanders
because you know we had the Giants trading back to try and pick up Sanders a little later, get some draft capital.
They thought they would do it.
Yep. The Giants are up.
Giants are up.
Now, could the Giants trade back again?
There's nobody on the phone. Nobody's on the phone with New York. They're going to let New York have to dig their own grave here. So how do you get out of this, JRich?
Now you probably take Membu, right?
For the Giants?
Yeah. Or there is a quarterback out of Ole Miss that is available.
There is a quarterback out of Ole Miss.
That is available. right? Do you think that Jackson? Oh,
I just did it.
Executive says you just did it.
I just did it. I mean, golly, man, that would be if they traded back on the assumption that we can just get Sanders a little later, and then somebody jumps them and takes them. That would be rough. That would be rough.
And I do want to say, Craig, the one thing that you're discounting with the Saints trading up and them not having cap space, them trading draft picks away is actually helping them. Correct. As far as cap space goes. It's the first round pick that is expensive, but like every pick you have to pay all those players. So trading some of those away and consolidating is actually better for their cap potentially, especially when they're only going up a few picks. It's not going to change too much from the cap.
JRich, I like what
Panthers
you did,
are on
man.
the clock.
I like what you did.
We're not done yet. We're not done yet.
We're not. We got another
JRich. There's the trades are
more mocks with you. I don't ever
think about what we're setting up here because there's still a lot to happen. But the Panthers, do you want to go edge?
Yes, I want to go Jalen Walker here.
Okay.
I want to go
So
Jalen Walker.
Is Jalen Walker your top edge here? Because I thought he was the least polished of the edges. And that's why I was concerned with taking him so high.
He's very explosive. I would take a shot on Jalen Walker here. I would take a shot on Jalen Walker here. All right?
Okay.
Now New Orleans is on the clock. I mean,
the Raiders are on the clock.
The Raiders are on the clock. Excuse me.
Genty.
I feel Genty, right? We both said it.
Because they had to go down to 9, so they're ahead of Chicago.
Oh, this burns
and Chicago would have had to jump them, and the Panthers weren't willing to make a deal.
Good set. I have not done this iteration of a mock, JRich. You are cooking, my friend. We need some more of those JRich mocks. Chicago's on the clock now at 10. Genty's off the board. Jalen Walker's off the board. Running back, D-line, and safety positions of need for the Chicago Bears. A common pick that I've done is just Armand Membu. Just more O-line for Caleb Williams.
They need it, man.
Right.
I don't care. Yeah, they need it.
Niners are on the clock. You got to get this one. If the comments... Let me tell you who the comments will rip you for in mock drafts. It is the San Francisco pick. They will pick. They don't. You better get it right, JRich.
Interesting.
You better land this bitch, or else it's going to be hell to pay. I like Jahad Campbell here. I think the fact they lose Greenlaw, I think Campbell and Warner in the middle would be nasty. And Campbell's got some of that. I wouldn't call him an edge rusher, but he can get after the quarterback. I think that linebacker would be nice there. Guard, tackle, cornerback, also positions of need. If it were you, just thinking about San Francisco as Jahdae Barron, Jahad Campbell.
I was thinking corner for them, like a very high impact corner, probably a little bit higher than people are expecting. But
Will Johnson?
if he's your number one,
Jahdae,
you can go Will Johnson if you want.
Jahdae?
I honestly was thinking about Barron. Like I really was. That was my initial thought was him. Only because I think it's just a bigger impact player than linebacker. You made me find linebacker in round 2 and still got a good one. But
Scribble said,
Barron, you're only getting one.
How is Carolina
a pass
not
catcher?
taking a pass?
My God, dude.
How is Ted?
Jesus Christ. Carolina does not need pass catchers.
They do. They do.
But they don't need them as bad as they need the edge.
8, dude. I'm not doing it.
They need a D lineman so badly.
Jahdae Barron goes to San Francisco. Let's put Barron in San Francisco. My Cowboys are on the clock at pick 12. Running back, receiver, guard, and edge positions of need. The Dallas Cowboys came out and said they filled major holes in free agency with Jack Sanborn and
Miles Sanders
and Javonte Williams. I'll tell you this, I don't think they're taking a running back
Paris Campbell?
I don't think they're taking a running back here.
So, Ray, Shoddy, your boy, said that he wants to work from the outside in. Not a common phrase you hear from front office, coaches. Generally, you want to work from the inside out. Build within the trenches, go from there. But your Cowboys seem to have a different approach. And all indications would be probably corner, which they are going to need because Diggs is probably going to leave potentially in the next couple of years, or wide receiver. We saw that Zierlein, they took Golden. Would you take Golden or would you take Tet at 12 if you went receiver?
I would take Tyler Warren over both of them.
Really?
I absolutely would. If I would, they're not going to pay Jake Ferg. I think Tyler Warren better complements CeeDee Lamb than Tet McMillan does. I think he provides another option and outlet for Dak, and we've seen how incredibly successful Dak Prescott has been with tight ends. So if you're leaving this pick up to me, I would take Tyler Warren here at pick 12.
Okay. I like it. Right. Let's do it.
Tyler Warren goes to Dallas at 12. Miami's on the clock at 13. I know you talked about safety and them not taking safety. Would you just take Malachi Starks here? I know you like that Xavier Watts, but I'm just going to – it's a little too high to take Watts, JRich.
So I just don't necessarily agree with taking safety really high in the draft unless you really believe that they're going to be like Kyle Hamilton, which there's really not a lot of safeties like that. And I don't know if you think there is one of those guys in this draft, whether it's – I mean, it wouldn't be Starks. It'd probably be Eamon Warrior, if any of them. I think personally that the Dolphins should probably go on defensive line. Like, I think Kenneth Grant could be an option for them. I think if you wanted to go and draft Mike Green a little bit higher than expected would be a good pick for them. Maybe you go corner. I just don't know if safety is going to be enough of an impact at 13 for the
Will
Dolphins.
Johnson.
They need him.
Will Johnson? You want Will Johnson and Ramsey?
Will Johnson's interesting. I was maybe going to put him to Arizona, but I think if you're just going BPA, Will Johnson's the pick here. Like, they need someone that can defend the pass.
I like it.
Yeah.
I actually really like it. Will Johnson.
Yep.
Will Johnson to Miami. Colts are on the clock, and we saved ourselves from Tyler Warren, so you have to stretch a little deeper here. Tight end, guard, edge, linebacker, and safety positions of need for Indianapolis. My eyes immediately go to Starks. Jahad Campbell is available. Tight end, you got Colston Loveland, but it feels like maybe not right here for Colston Loveland. So you want and edge rusher next to Latu, another edge rusher across from Latu. You got Mike Green, James Pierce, Ezraku on the board. Where do you want to go, Jay?
My initial thought was Jahad Campbell. I think this is where the slide would stop for them.
Okay.
I think he'd be a good pick there. You could go Starks, especially with the way that defense plays, but I do think that Campbell's a good pick there. Falcons got to go Green, right? Like, we're not making that mistake. Like, they need an edge rusher pretty much no matter what.
Unless you want to take Pierce, but I like Mike Green. Explosive. We got to see him in the Senior Bowl. It was crazy.
Which one do you prefer? I know you've liked Pierce for a long time,
Pierce
but
it
seems like
the
the draft community is not as big on Pierce as Green.
Right. You still have Shamar. You've got Shamar Stewart available. I'm just scrolling down the board a little bit. But, we can go Mike Green. Mike Green to Atlanta. That's a common pick. It's a common fit.
Yep.
It's a common pick.
Yep.
Michael as well. Do you want to keep the Georgia boy at home? Michael? I don't care.
No,
I don't care that Trevor's got him ranked 26. Fuck all that. Like, do you think Michael Williams, an SEC edge rusher, they've probably seen?
Yeah.
No, do you think that fits a little more than Mike Green?
We're fine with Michael. I'm fine with he's another good player too. Like, I'm fine with it. It works.
Now, Arizona, I know Calais Campbell came back. They signed, I don't know why. I always get Josh Huff and Josh Sweat confused, but I know
Josh Sweat they signed, right?
Yeah, Josh Sweat, Josh Huff. I'm showing my age here. If anybody people will look it up real quick, but Josh
He's a
Huff,
safety for Philly, right? He's old.
No, man. Josh Huff was a damn receiver at Oregon in like the early 2000s. Go look it up.
Lord have mercy.
He was I think he played with that Jeremiah Masoli.
He was drafted by the Eagles. Okay.
Yeah, see, I'm not fucking crazy. I knew it. Football is up there, JRich. It's in there. All right, Arizona. I mocked Matthew Golden to Arizona in my last mock.
Really? See, wouldn't Burden be the perfect pick for them?
I mocked Burden to Arizona earlier in the process, but that was before Burden got. I think that
slipping.
would be.
It'd be a big reach.
I'm not taking what everybody is projecting as a second-round player in the middle of the first. Not with. I'm not taking Burden over McMillan. I don't give a shit what you think about that. I'm not doing that. I
just think from a fit perspective. But so if it was available, I would probably still go edge here. We know Cincinnati needs an edge, but I do think that Arizona, it's corner or edge. They've needed corner or edge for years. They signed an edge. They still need a corner. But I think with the corners coming off the board a little bit earlier, I don't know if there's
where's
one
Hunter
now
at?
that you like.
Where's Joe Warren is an animal as a blocker. Where's Hunter Joe Green at? He's Colts lost linebacker 2 and 3 free agency. They need a linebacker, so we made a good pick there with the Jahad Campbell pick. It's not fun, but they need O-line. Okay, Arizona needs O-line. Josh Simmons, you want to give him? It says guard, but you want to give him
early. Well, do you think Grant could be a good pick for them? That would be really good for their D-line.
I like Grant.
I don't think I've ever seen Grant go in there, but that would be really good for their D-line.
Okay. All right, Kenneth Grant. I mean, they brought Campbell back, so that gives them a little, at least year flexibility, but I'm fine with Kenneth Grant here. Why would Arizona take wide receiver when they need defense? Cincinnati's on the clock at 17, edge rusher, linebacker, guard. And Scott Connor told me that cornerback is also not out of the realm of possibility, but I think edge rusher
If available, yeah.
I would take Pierce over Mike Green personally.
Do it then. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. I'm
There's
taking
lots of
James
spots for
Pierce
Green
here.
on the board.
Seattle's on the clock. Zierlein's mock. They took Tet McMillan.
They took Tet. Give him Booker.
They took Tet. I know, having done like a million of these, that they are thirsting for trenches. O-line trenches. I don't know if there's a player on the board that would make them be like, screw that. I also have traded back. So
they could definitely trade back.
In my last mock, let's just see who's on the phone. Let's see who's calling. Kansas City. Okay. In my last mock, I had Seattle trading with Baltimore. Baltimore jumped up to 18 and they took Tet McMillan. Seattle dropped back, added another second-round pick, which would give them 3 seconds. And then they got some other stuff for moving back with Baltimore. Center, guard, edge. If they wanted an edge, Mike Green is still right there.
Yeah, they've been trying to fortify the edge for a couple of years, but it just seems like even if they have to reach, wouldn't they have to go for like Booker? Like whoever their top guard is, basically.
Alex says if Ted is there at 18, the Packers better trade up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe. I think you probably so who would be our offensive line fits? Because Simmons it's probably a little early for him.
Just go get a book.
Well, they could take Banks.
Who?
If he wanted to go tackle. Banks
Kelvin
is still
Banks?
there too.
Yeah, I like Banks. Yeah. Let's do it.
It'd be Banks or Booker if Booker's guard one.
Garrison says Booker. Seattle sucks at drafting online. I think no, they don't. They got Abe Lucas and Charles Cross were good. They just were banged up. Would KC come up for Starks? No way they move up for Tet. Seattle needs O-line. Too many sacks. Yeah, let's protect the guy. Let's go Kelvin Banks. Kelvin Banks.
Yep.
The Bucs are on the clock at 19. Edge, linebacker, in DB positions of need for Tampa Bay. They could also just give Baker. You could give Baker Big Tet, but the only reason I say no, you got Godwin re-signed. You got Jalen McMillan. You hit on a 4th-round wide receiver last year, and you still got the Hall of Famer Mike Evans in the building. So I would say no to Tet McMillan here, but I would say hell yeah to Mike Green and Tampa Bay. Mike Green to Tampa Bay. That is a great fit, good pick. Denver's on the clock at 20, JRich.
Colson Loveland.
You're just locking that in?
Yeah.
Even though they signed Evan Ingram to what, a 3-year deal?
Can't block, right? So not worried about that.
Colson Loveland can. I know a lot of people don't think he's physical, but they probably have not watched any tape. He absolutely can hang in line and block. Colson Loveland
think he'd be a
Denver.
great fit for Sean Payton. Great fit.
21, the Steelers are on the clock. Aaron Rodgers will be the quarterback. They've got their receiving core locked into place. They need a tackle. They need a safety. They need interior defensive line. The easy button
draft
option
Grant yet?
Grant is off the board. You put Grant
we did
in Arizona 5 picks ago.
True.
Yeah.
There we go.
Walter Nolan. Shamar Stewart. Walter Nolan.
Walter Nolan is interesting. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. DT for them, DT over DN makes a little more sense.
Can I interest you in a running back here for Pittsburgh?
No.
Josh just said it.
Never.
Steelers need a running back.
They don't need a running back. Not in the first round.
You don't think so?
No. I think they realized what they did when they drafted Najee Harris, and it got them absolutely nowhere. So are they going to do the same thing again and draft Amari and Hampton?
4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, man.
Yeah.
Hadn't missed a game.
I mean, did they win a playoff game in his tenure?
Was that Najee's fault? No.
Oh, depends on who you ask. He's a first-round running back.
It's not depends on who you ask. Walter Nolan, 21 to Pittsburgh. Chargers are on the clock. Does the slide stop here? Tet?
Yeah,
and
100%.
This is a good fit. Isn't it a good fit with Ladd?
Really good.
I like this. I like this.
Now, the question, Ray, is Golden a better fit? Kind of. So does the slide stop?
Matthew Golden goes to Los Angeles. I forgot he was still on the board. I forgot he was still on the board. Stanley, stop it. Watson, Packers wide receiver, will play this season. He's not. I think he's still no.
He will play until he's unavailable yet again. But he tore his ACL,
no.
Yeah.
No. Mr. Glass. Literally, he is Samuel L. Jackson from Unbreakable. Mr. Glass. No joke. Ted McMillan? Green
Do you
Bay?
think he's a good fit? I don't think he's a good fit. I think he's a bigger guy,
they're not
but
passing on him here. There's no way.
You don't think so, eh?
There's no way.
There's no corners really that we like. We put them
I do.
way
I like
up.
Trey Amos. I also like Ezeraku for them. They need an edge. You've got Shamar
They
Stewart.
need Ezeraku because they have been so bad drafting edge rushers.
Dynasty Daddy in the building. What's up?
Let's go.
Dynasty Daddy in the building. Man, if you play Dynasty Fantasy, if you just play fantasy football, you need to go to Dynasty Daddy. The link is in the description. Amazing tools, amazing product from our friend and partner, Jeremy. QJ would be an amazing wide receiver 3 and a 1-1 offense. Trey Amos would be fire. We could have beat Philly if we had a pass rush. They're saying pass rush. Packers fans' biggest want, like me, is a receiver. Packers'
they didn't get any pressure.
Need is pass rush.
It's pass rush, yeah. It's pass rush and corner. Those are the two biggest needs. It's not receiver. They have so many receivers. They have multiple tight ends. They don't need that.
Donovan Ezeraku is the pick. The Vikings are on the clock and people are on the phone. The Lions are on the phone. The Commanders are on the phone.
Really?
The Commanders are on the phone.
The Commanders should be on the phone.
Who?
They should be on the phone.
Minnesota needs to trade out of this pick. Let's get
100%.
out of here. Let's trade up with Washington.
Would you rather?
They're not trading.
Yeah, I think Washington's a better pick.
You think?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Giving Dan Campbell one of his guys. Fuck that, man. Not giving Dan Campbell anybody. Commanders are moving up, Jay. They're going to give up 29, 61, and what? Damn, they don't even have a second next year.
Do the 5th next year.
A 5th?
Yeah, for just 24.
0% chance to be accepted.
Really? Wow, big fucking premium on this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we make it happen realistically.
I don't think it's happening. If
they're not giving up 24 and 97.
That makes no sense. That's
no way. Happening. No way. What else can Minnesota give them a 4th?
Why would Minnesota give up anything? That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
they should be giving up like a 6th rounder in return for that.
It won't do it.
Do the 6. Do the 6. Do like a
do the 6 and force it. They got to give up a little more than a 6th, right? Like Washington's moving up.
Do the 26th third.
Washington's giving up a 2nd, man. They're giving up a 2nd.
Yeah. Fine.
Washington's on the clock. I have no. Who are they taking? They're on the clock here. We just made this trade. I have no idea where they're going.
I mean, they probably take Ted, right?
I would have done the trade for Josh Simmons because Houston would have taken Josh Simmons at 25.
Which is fine. Are you worried about Houston?
You got to protect Jaden, man.
They just signed Laremy Tunsil, or I think they're going to sign Laremy Tunsil technically because they haven't done it yet. But
here, Tet was sliding.
I think they don't need him, but I mean, is there an edge rusher they need to draft? Maybe they trade up for Shamar Stewart because they think he's a freak, right? That I think makes more sense than saying you trade up for a guy who's hurt that you think could be a great tackle one day. I don't know if you want to. Do you think the Commanders would gamble on Josh Simmons?
All right, here's the chats. Dan Quinn said Coleman is moving to right tackle. They take a position player or tackle. Commanders take Tet. Protect JD5 from Joe. I'm seeing Omarion Hampton in the chat.
No way.
Hampton, Stewart drops in this draft. Give them all the O-line. I think
Simmons would be a good pick for them.
They made this move because I would have put Simmons in Houston. Now I'm in a bind because I don't know what to do with Houston.
They got to draft a guard. I think if you want to bet on Simmons, I'm fine with it.
You want to go Tet? You want to just give him Tet?
I think it's pretty interesting. Because how much further is Tet going to slide unless you want to just put him to the Rams?
No, I wouldn't put him in the Rams.
Right.
Protect JD5. Josh Simmons, they took him over. They knew Houston wanted him. Houston doesn't have a tackle. Figure it out.
It's Zabel. They got to figure it out. Yeah. They trade out or they take Zabel, basically. That's it.
Houston takes Gray Zabel. Houston goes Gray Zabel. Rams are on the clock at 26. Now it's interesting. Rams are on the clock at 26. Tight end, tackle, linebacker, and corner, biggest positions in need for the Rams.
Who's a top corner? Would it be Amos?
Amos, Revel, Harrison.
Well, Starks is still available, isn't he?
Malachi is still available. Malachi is, and Eamon
They're so young in the secondary.
BPA.
I think it's probably Starks.
I like it. I'm very much good with it. Baltimore on the clock at 27.
I'm fine with Eamon Warrior if you want to pair him with Hamilton. I actually do it. That's really interesting. Really interesting. You could go O-line for them. I know you want to get your needle mover in Ted McMillan.
I think Baltimore would do it. I don't give a shit what their biggest positions of need is. Like, I think right here, this is where you get Lamar Jackson, who's about to get the biggest contract in NFL history. You get him a receiver over 5'7", man. You get him a receiver over 5'7".
Yeah.
Ted McMillan goes to Baltimore at 27. The Lions are on the clock at 28, JRich. Lions are on the clock at 28. My mind is Shamar Stewart. Stewart.
Harmon or Stewart, one of the two.
Shamar Stewart to Detroit.
Bet on the freak, man. They don't even need him, but bet on him.
Why the what's his team?
Who's calling, Ray? The Vikings.
Nah, Vikings already got some picks. And I mean, you got Derek Harmon available. I mean, they could kind of they built in some goodwill. Defensive back, I know, is a big position.
Harrison would probably be a good
Maxwell Harrison. You've got Amos still available. I kind of like Trey there. I know Buffalo.
Okay.
Buffalo's been commonly associated with Amos too.
Buffalo needs a corner too. They both do.
And Eamon Warrior is still available for Buffalo and or Minnesota. I think Minnesota is in a good spot here. Like, realistically, they probably could trade back again if they wanted to. But let's give the Vikings a pick here.
Do you think they would take Booker? Because Booker's still available. Like, just keep that offensive line like really, really strong.
Maybe.
Because their biggest positional need is.
I think they go interior D line or they go corner. I think they go interior D line or corner. So if we go interior D line, you got Harmon, Alexander, Sanders.
Harmon's a great pick, man.
Harmon would be a good pick. And then if we add the corners to the mix, you've got Amos, and then I'm gonna just throw safety up there. Where's Eamon Warrior? There's Eamon Warrior right there as well. I'm gonna let you make the pick. Stanley's saying DB.
They do need a DB, but I don't know whether Harrison probably is. Do you think Harrison's a better fit than Amos?
Because
they probably need a man corner.
Hampton.
No,
I don't think they take a running back here.
Kevin O'Connell already came out yesterday and talked about how Jordan Mason can be a great asset on the goal line. He's going to operate as a 1B. They're not taking a running back, I don't think.
That's right. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. They're not taking a running back here.
I'd say take Amos if you think he's better. Okay. Whoever you think is the better man corner. Okay. I'm not sure which one of them plays more man.
All right, there we go. We went Trey Amos to Minnesota. I didn't see that, but I like the rationale there, Jay, by saying that they already they do have Jordan Mason, right? Like they do. They've got Jordan Mason.
And they paid him. And they traded for him and extended him. So
Buffalo's this is another team. If you get this wrong, the chat will lose it. It will be the worst mock.
They're another team that needs corner, and I think that Harrison's probably going to be up there for them. Like, they were trying to trade for corners. I've done this
enough to know that they probably like one of these safeties over Maxwell Harrison.
They definitely do. They definitely would.
Xavier Watts is really good. You like Watts more than Eamon Warrior.
So Ray, in my head, here's the problem: is that all three of these teams could use a safety, right? I had a plan.
You talking about Buffalo, Kansas City,
the three remaining teams, yeah. I think that maybe you could take a safety here, but the issue is because I still think with this mock, the Chiefs could get Booker, which is disgusting.
Dude, the Chiefs are going to be fine.
Give the Bills Watts because he's a better cover corner.
Garrison, everybody is saying
give him Watts.
DB. Everybody is saying DB.
Give him Watts. They need one badly.
All right.
They do need one badly.
I like it. I don't hate it. I know you like some Xavier Watts. Alex says Eamon Warrior. I'm good with Xavier Watts, the All-American. Kansas City's on the clock. Trenches for Kansas City.
Yeah, give him Booker. Because we still haven't drafted Booker.
Replace Thuney.
Yep.
However you say his name.
Yep. They need a tackle, but if you're going to get one of the best guards in the class, just take him.
All right, let's do it. Tyler Booker goes to Kansas City, and now Howie Roseman's on the clock at 32. I mean,
is there any Bulldogs available?
Nope, but Nick Eamon Warrior is available right there.
Boom, easy.
Is that the pick?
100%.
All right.
100%.
Eamon goes to Philadelphia. There it is. Our Wake Up Mock 1.0. JRich, hit us with those top 10 picks.
So you have Cam Ward, number 1 to Tennessee. We have Cleveland taking Travis Hunter at number 2. The Jets trading up with the New York Football Giants to draft Abdul Carter at 3. The Pats stay pat at number 4 and take Will Campbell at 5. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Mason Graham. We had another trade up.
This was a good
with
one.
the New Orleans Saints trading up ahead of the Giants to 6, trading with the Raiders to draft Shedeur Sanders, forcing the Giants into Jackson Dart at number 7. We have Jalen Walker from Georgia going to the Carolina Panthers. Ashton Genty going to the Las Vegas Raiders at number 9. And Armand Membu going to Chicago at number 10, Ray. Any bad picks in the top 10, and which was your favorite?
I'm just going to give you your credit, dude. I love the Giants getting out of 3 and then jumping back up over a team that probably would have taken them. I like that. I think that was and then the Saints jumping the Giants to take Shedeur Sanders. I like that, Jay. I thought that was nice. At 11, we've got San Francisco going Jahdae Barron. Dallas Cowboys take Tyler Warren at 12. Will Johnson goes to Miami at 13. Jahad Campbell and the Colts, they are paired up and they need linebackers. Mykel Williams goes 15th to the Falcons. Kenneth Grant, 16 to the Cardinals. James Pierce Jr. goes 17th to Cincinnati. Kelvin Banks goes to Seattle at 18. Mike Green at 19 to Tampa Bay. And Colston Loveland, 20th overall to the Denver Broncos. We've got Walter Nolan, 21 to the Steelers. Matthew Golden, 22 to the Chargers. 23, Donovan Ezaraku. And then Minnesota traded with Washington, and Washington went protection for Jaden Daniels and Josh Simmons. Gray Zabel went 25th overall to the Houston Texans. Anything in that cluster of 11 to 25, JRich, that you're kind of like, I would have done that over, or I really, really like that fit, or I really, really hate that fit? 11 through 25.
I think the hardest part is trying to fit the corners in, right? Like all the teams in that, 10 to 16 range had potential to take a corner, and we ended up putting them in early. And then you go back later in those late teens, early 20s, we're still trying to find more corners. It makes me think that maybe there is a world where corners will go a little bit higher in this draft because of that. It feels like there's not enough to fit the team needs as it stands right now, but we'll see.
JRich, round out those final picks from Los Angeles.
Yeah, so the Los Angeles Rams, we went with Malachi Starks to anchor that defensive secondary. Tetairoa McMillan, the needle mover, is going to Baltimore. Shamar Stewart to the Detroit Lions at 28. The Minnesota Vikings take Trey Amos, the corner out of Mississippi, at 29. Xavier Watts, my guy, goes to Buffalo at 30. Tyler Booker lands in Kansas City at 31. And Nick Eamon fills that spot left by Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at 32 to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Alan A says, give me Tet or Will Johnson over Warren. No thank you to Tet at 12. I mean, I'd be fine.
People are mad that we gave Colston Loveland to Denver. I mean, really? they got Evan Ingram, but that's not going to stop them from taking Colston Loveland.
Yeah, I don't think Evan Ingram.
People forget how much that Sean Payton loves tight ends. Like, he loves tight ends, and they haven't had any good ones. He went and found one that can catch passes, but he needs one that can actually play tight end too. Like, he really does.
Beast 303 says Washington sits at 29 and takes a running back over the fumbles in the playoffs. Again, in this mock, we had one running back go round one. Everybody's saying this is the best collection of running backs since we've seen since 2017. It's not the fact that there isn't a running back that could fit inside of round one, but it is a deep class. So why? Like, what is truly, man, how much of a difference is Omarion Hampton from Quinshon Judkins from Johnson, Damian Martinez from Scat? Like, just give me two. Give me two. Round 3, I'll take one. And round 7, I'll take another one. Round 4 and round 5. Round 2 and round 6. Just take 2 this year. I think in a class where there are so many players that we didn't even touch here in round 1. I think I saw somebody in the chat say round 2, like night 2, is going to be incredible. And it is. We have done it for the last 3 years. We will be streaming the NFL draft Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday all day long. It's the biggest and the best draft stream in the business. We have a damn good time. We'll have our fantasy football people over talking through everything. JRich and I will be on there. I'm participating in the Huddle Report mock draft accuracy contest this year. So it's going to be a good time all 3 nights of the draft. So y'all better be pulling in and tapping in with us. Jay, this is your mock, man. This is the Jordan Richards mock draft.
It was both of us,
man. I think you did a good job. Overall, man.
We had some fun, man. We had some fun. And it's just about, honestly, like trying to figure out the values of all these players and where they're going to end up. We'll do this again, I'm sure, before the draft comes. But I think when you try and figure out the top, it kind of lays the groundwork for later on. But yeah, it's those corners for me right now. It's trying to figure out where those guys are going to go, because it seems like, everyone wants teams to draft running backs, but it seems like there's a big scarcity at corner, at least as it stands right now.
Stanley said he is headed, hit the music, he is headed to the Piggly Wiggly for some lunch. $7.49 a plate, 1 meat, 2 sides, and a roll. Stanley is living in 1987 right now, going to that Piggly Wiggly. I don't know where he's at. Deep South State, probably.
I don't know what a Piggly Wiggly is.
You don't know what Piggly Wiggly is? It's Deep South, man. It is. Anytime I go home, visit my grandma, she lives in South Carolina, it is literally like you stepped in a time machine like 15 years ago. Like you just go back in time. You know what I mean? Just time travel back, going to that Piggly Wiggly. Good mock, always good to switch it up, different scenarios. Yeah, it's more so talking about the players and the fits and what we think is going to happen on draft night. And here's the one guarantee that I can make on draft night is everybody's going to be wrong. Everybody's going to be wrong. And we're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. Nobody mocked that. But that's the beautiful, imperfect science of the NFL draft and why we are so captivated by teams picking players. Like, we're just so captivated by it. But we appreciate y'all pulling up this Wednesday. Happy hump day. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like the stream, comment, subscribe to the channel. We do have one super chat from a super fan, Adam Zaff. You are our guy. $9 super chat. Appreciate you. $10. We appreciate you guys in the 3 days a week now. Hella pump, whether it's live on YouTube or just listening later in the day on podcasts. Man, Adam did our outro for us, man. Subscribe to the podcast feed if you can't catch us live, which you should. You can catch us on the WakeUp podcast feed, Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitch, wherever you get your podcast feeds. Thank y'all for being here. Y'all have a fantastic Wednesday. And JRich, we're going to be back on Friday, huh?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what I want to do on Friday is straight mailbag, Q&A. So comment in the video, not in the damn comment live stream section. Comment in the chat. We'll pull those up, but it's all about y'all on Fridays. Fridays are for the people. And Jimbo, feel good. Freaky Friday. We're back, baby. I'm going to have gray sweatpants on, and we're going to have a damn good time. Thank y'all for being here. Have a great day, and we'll see y'all on Friday. We out. Peace.